Hi, welcome on the second lesson, how to build your VMware environment at home. So on the last lesson, we just create the install SXI host. I show you how to configure, basic configuration and basic overview. On this lesson, I will show you how to install vCenter server, and then maybe we focus on the how to add SXI host to the vCenter. We will see. Okay, basically on this before we install, I will add DNS entry for the vCenter server. I will call the vCenter 200, 192.168.0.200. Of course, create the PTR record. If not, you probably will get some error during the installation. Also, I will add SXI host 192.168.0.103. Also the PTR record. That's done. That's done. Refresh, yes, 200, 103. Okay, it's all static. So, okay, that's my vCenter server ISO. I mount this ISO to the F drive. Then you go to VCSA UE installer, Windows 32, and then you double click installer. Okay, you've got few options here: fresh install, upgrade, migrate, restore. Install is just fresh install. You can create various options, like not options but versions of the vCenter server. Upgrade is the upgrade existing vCenter appliances. We will on the maybe in a couple of lessons later. I will show you how to upgrade vCenter maybe to 6.7 or 7.0. Migrate if you've got the vCenter server on the Windows base. You can migrate to the appliance. And restore, I probably show you also how to deal with the restore later on, maybe on the next lessons or something like that, to show you how to go if your vCenter is down, how to deal with the restore. On this lesson, we just go for fresh install, accept the EULA, then you go for embedded platform service controller. Some companies use the external as the you can get two vCenters connected to the one platform service controller. From my perspective, is sometimes is getting some problems with the platform controller, whereas for example external platform controller installed. So I prefer going for embedded. You get everything in one. Now that's your target. Where you would like to deploy your appliance. So that will be our SXI host 192.100.0.103. That will be appliance on the port 443. Now root password, well, username, we just use the root. And if everything will be fine, you should see the yes SSL certificate and the thumbprint. We just confirm. Now vCenter, that's your vCenter name. Yeah, it's a friendly name, depends what you've got. You need to put the name here, and root password for your new appliance which you will install it. So don't forget your password. Remember, if you forget, there is some options to restore. Maybe one day I will show you also how to deal with this. I think that's the nice feature. You can use it one day. Okay, vCenter. Okay, deploy size. I will use only 10 because that's my lab. Depends on your environment, how big, how many hosts you've got, how much storage you prefer, or maybe how much CPU and RAM you need. You need to the best option just calculate or contact with your architect. I prefer go for little more, for example, if you got 100 hosts or maybe even 99 or something, go for medium size instead of go for less. And in the, I don't know, 1 year, you need to deal with some problems. Yeah, that's our SXI host SSD drive. I enabled the thin disk mode just because that's my lab. I don't want to, you know, create some problems with the capacity. System name, what was it? vCenter FQD name. It's empty, okay. 200, and now we need to go for Vmlab local. So you need to provide your full qualified domain name. Like we've got the Vmlab local, for example, you've got the vCenter 200 properties, and that's what you've got. Yeah, full qualified domain name. Yeah. Okay, what we've got here, IP address 168.0.200. Subnet mask, all depends what you've got, but I've got 24 bit masks, so it's a 0 on the end. That's my default gateway, and 168.0.105, that's my DNS. I will show you now. DNS, so you need to check, for example, on your DNS IP addresses. I've got 105, yeah, and I use also on this DNS Active Directory domain the same DNS. Okay, so depends what you've got. If you follow my IP address subnetting, so just go for 105. If not, just use what you've got. Okay, and now we've got some overview. Double check vCenter tiny net network. We just use the default one now. Later on we create the different one. Okay, and finish. Now we should start initializing the deploy. Yeah, that will be first option. Will be just deploy appliance. You should see if we go for 198.0.103, if we go for SXI hosts, we should see the virtual machine. Oh, you see, that's our appliance. We just started, and if you can see on the task, import appliance is running. Okay, I will pause the video till this process bar will be on the end or finish, and then we go for next steps. Okay, so installer just complete the deployment. That was the first stage, and now we just go click and continue, and now we start doing the next stage. Okay, so next Ntp Server. Up to you if you got the time protocol. If you have some different server which is responsible for the time, just use the second option. I normally just synchronize the clock with my SXI host, and I just enable SSH. From the security perspective on the production environment, I prefer maybe disable this option just to make sure nobody will be try to access by via SSH to your server, vCenter server. But on the lab, and just easier for me just getting enable instead of I have to later on if you have some problems with the SXI host, not SX but the vCenter server, and this option will be disabled. You might have to have some problems with the connect to the vCenter server. So I will just enable this option, go for next. Single sign-on. I use the vSphere local. So if you would like to access to vCenter server, into go for administration, add vCenter local, password, and site name. You can use the lab, for example, but I'm not sure if that work. Maybe not sure, because when we deploy the vCenter server, this lab name, uh, you you won't see that on the vCenter server. Maybe if you go for some configuration and deep dive via Power CLI or something, maybe you'll find this name, but I will show you later on. After deploy, this name won't be there anyway. Existing SSO domain, join. I've got one vCenter server, so maybe on some later lab, I will create one more vCenter server, and we try to join this vCenter to different one, and I show you how it works and why we do this this way. It's nice to get, for example, two vCenter servers. You can see on one web client, because it's easier to manage. Yeah, it's nice to manage. You can see everything in one screen. Yeah, instead of you can add couple vCenters to one. Yeah, even. Okay. Just go for next. Okay, we go for next. Then we got some overview on the DNS, so we double check 200. So I synchronize enable, and then we go for finish. Completing it started. Okay. And now we start configure. I will pause again because that will probably set up a couple of minutes, and come back afterwards, and we just log into our new vCenter server. Okay, so second stage is already done. As you can see, the successfully completed. On the bottom, you've got the started page, so you can copy it. I will open into my domain controller, paste in the web browser, and the Flash is not used anymore because the Flash player is end of support, so it's end of life. Sorry. So just go for the HTML5 administrator at vSphere local. We don't set up the domain controller authentication, so we just use the administration account. Okay, so of course that's the information about the license. So if you have some trial license, just use it. If not, manage your license. I think that basically you've got some 60 days. Yeah, you've got the 60 days left, or 59 exactly, till your license will be invalid. So you've got 60 days for free. Okay, and what else? Okay, we can create new data center. Just call it lab or something like that, up to you. And we can add new cluster. And of course, the functionality of a cluster is we should have more than 2 hosts, or even just 2, to make sure we've got the high availability. But for now, we just got install 1. Later on, I will add another 2 hosts, which is already installed. So we just add it, and then we can just go and configure more settings for the cluster. set up, see if that will works. Root. Okay, yes. Okay. Center, of course, the license, just 60 days again. Lockdown mode is mean you can set up for streaks, for example, so you don't have the like you can read in here. You will only can see the CXI host via vCenter, for example, because the direct console service is stopped, so you are not able to log into the SX host directly. Yeah. For the lab, of course, we just disable just the security. Uh, that's kind of the security setup. Okay, cluster out host is in red because still it is set up. Just we need to wait. Yeah, if course is working, and we've got our vCenter on this host. Okay, so I think that's it for this lesson. I hope you enjoy it and you are able to follow my steps and build your own environment. On the next steps, I think we will create some networking for the SXI host. Maybe we create or add some data stores. So we will need the storage server for the provide some iSCSI disks to our lab. Yeah, I think we go for this storage stuff on the lesson number 3. So thanks for watching and see you later.